And we're recording. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us here today for defining your personal style. My name is Nicole Jennings, and I'm the owner and founder of Queen Anna House of Fashion. And I have a co-host here with me today, my lovely co-host, Shar. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Shar. I am the event curator and stylist at QA. Excited to be here for defining your personal style with you. We're going to have some fun. And a little bit about me. I've been with QA for about 2 years, and I've been an image consultant for over 8 years. I was formerly trained with Consell Institute of Image Management. Back some years ago. So been in this game for a long time and super excited to share some great information with you today.
Absolutely. And I've been doing some of the, it wasn't image consulting, but more stylist training. And it was through the New York Institute of Art and Design. And so I think between the both of us, got the best of both worlds, and we're excited to share. So without further ado, let's start it and jump right in. So, style for days. That is something that we've been spending a lot of time on. And we have been doing it in a manner in which we've been giving a series of classes, and it's been really fun. And this is just one of many. I'm sorry, a little technical difficulties.
No worries. I'm super excited about it. Style for Days I love that we've been able to create this, like collection of master classes to really help people and dive more into like, what does that mean? Like how the everyday person can achieve better style and, like less overwhelm when it comes to it. Like, give me the layman's terms.
Yes, and that's always important for people to be able to understand. And so the main objectives of the course is for us just to have the conversation about defining what personal style even is. I think that it's important for us as humans. We all get our various meanings and definitions, and they're not always the same. And it's sometimes difficult to have a conversation with someone in regards to something if you're not on the same playing field when it comes to the definition of something. And so outside of that, we'll be also talking about the variables that impact personal style and keys to success in defining your personal style, and how to challenge and push your boundaries of your personal style, which is fun. That's always
Yes. We both love doing that.
Yes. Okay, and so what we're going to do now is let's just get on the same playing field, right? Like, what is personal style? What are proportions? And what does personality have to do with any of this? And so personal style is a highly individualistic creative expression of your core personality and sense of self. What do you think of that, Shar?
I love that. I feel like it's so much bandwidth too, but I think it's exciting to look at it more as like an art. So there's like no wrong way. It's more of discovery, which I think could be a big relief for people who feel like, like I want to get it right.
Right.
But there's so much ebb and flow in it, which I'm sure like will come up and, when we're sharing some of our story too, that people will see about it as well.
That's a good one. I love that, the fact that you mentioned art. The next one is proportions. A big part of our day-to-day is size and fit. And proportions is legitimately just the shape of your body's silhouette. And it ends up being the size clothing when you put it all together, what that is. And personality. It's the individual differences in the way people tend to think, feel, or behave.
Mm-hmm. A lot of there's some really good pieces that comes out of this component too, because it's a lot about like who you are and who you choose to be. And,
Mhm.
as we get into it, you'll even see that evolves. So there's some really fun components to that. And I'm really excited to talk about that.
Awesome.
All right. So I'm going to jump into giving us more context around these ideas. So we mentioned personality. So this is how the individual differences in the way people tend to think, feel, and behave, like Nicole just said. So when it comes to personality, this is bringing out more of yourself, like some of your traits, some of your beliefs, some of how you think, and your actions. And so learning how to integrate that into your wardrobe. And you may not have made that connection before of how much of style is really about who you are as a person. So think about it as your clothing, it's really just a visual representation of who you are, and figuring out the small key pieces on how to do that. So that's why it's so similar to art, because when people are drawing art, they're drawing feelings, they're drawing their perspective, their thoughts, or whether it's a structure or a painting, that's what's coming out and coming to life. So really thinking about your wardrobe as that component as well. And then talking into the preference. So I think, Nicole, did you have some ideas about that?
Yep, absolutely. It just kind of boils down to the specific likes and dislikes of an individual that shape the daily decisions that a person makes on and how they behave. And so realistically speaking, preferences change from day to day, season to season, person to person. And I think that that's the biggest thing, because when you are doing something that you prefer to do, it's okay for you to be doing it and it feels good for you. So even when it comes for fashion, like if you prefer something a certain way and it's not what mainstream media says you should be doing, that's what you prefer for you in that space. And it's okay to embrace that area.
Totally agree. Totally agree with that. And that's the exciting part too. I think that's where I feel like freedom comes in, where like, just because because sometimes it may, like it's in alignment with your personality, but maybe it niches down a little bit, because something may be in alignment with your personality, but when it comes to your preference, it may be a little bit different of what you decide to choose.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love that component too. And one thing too about one thing I wanted to add on to the personality is we're going to walk through the different like abbreviated types. And so the word for that they use is like OCEAN, but it stands for openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to hear about those, to talk through those and hear about how those relate to your personal style. And then lastly, going into the proportion. So think about it like this is almost like the simplest part of it, because it's your
Mm-hmm.
body type. So these are like the hard facts, the measurements, where it's really your measurements from head to toe, your body shape that you are in that current moment. So think about body type. And we have a fun detail and something that we've switched up than the normal industry about how we look at proportions and body type too.
Yes. And that's the most important. Like that's the most fun for me because it's something that we created here at QA. Okay, moving on.
Yes. All
So
right.
key to
Well, that's
defining your
me.
personal style. Exactly. Surprise. And killing it with that. Look at that. Just killing the game. Love it. And that's why it's like one of those fun things about the keys to defining your personal style, because it's like, I have it and here I am. And what?
Right. Channeling different energies and that piece of my personality. I love it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. So we're diving deep now. So hopefully you have your journal, you have your notes. If you don't, definitely pause and grab that, because we're going to start asking a few questions and allowing for a little bit of pause for you to think and reflect. Because part of this is, we talked about, your personality and your preference. And sometimes we don't even take that moment to really understand what we want in our personal style and how we can reflect that. So we're going to walk you through about this 5 different tips and pieces, key elements of that'll help you get more clarity on what that is. So starting with the fit, like we mentioned just before.
Mm-hmm.
So fit is not just about your body type, but then also how you want things to fit in your body. How do you like the clothes to show up on your body? So I know for me, I typically like a bit more form-fitting things
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. I like to show off my curves. I like to show off, like my hips and stuff. And I'm a bit smaller on top. So I like, just former fitting things. And I know for Cole, you like something a little bit different, even though you have that awesome body,
Yes,
that body type
I
for
like
form-fitting things.
oversized.
Right.
I don't
She
know.
loves oversized.
It feels, but that's the thing. I know the fit and I know what I do fit, but I prefer oversized.
Right. And so that's a big component of it. So how to, when you're armed with understanding what your body type is, but then you add on that layer of preference,
Mm-hmm.
you can gauge better of what you really like and what you want. So a perfect example of this, most people know about denim, right? So think of what's really popular right now is skinny leg denim or very straight tapered leg denim. So I like, straight leg denim and taper at the ankle. It's a bit more fitted and, fitted all the way through pretty much. Whereas someone for Nicole, she may prefer a boyfriend jean because it's looser. It's a bit more saggy. You can do different things with it. You can roll them up and it's just a looser fit. So just showing how we can be a certain body type, but we may prefer a different fit of our clothing on our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I would say too on me too is, though I love form-fitting things, I do like oversized third layers.
Mm.
So that extra layer on top, I love an oversized blazer. I love an oversized duster or jacket and things like that. So, really thinking about what you want that fit to look like on your body. Okay, the next is feel. What feels good on your skin? Now, this is something that has changed for me over the years
Mm-hmm.
because in the beginning, I definitely didn't think about how it feels on my body. When you're a kid, you're forced to wear those wool sweaters and they itch, or
Itchy. Oh,
just certain things that you just may not have paid attention to, or you just chose to, pick style or that fabric over how it really felt on your skin.
mm-hmm.
But, this is an option. Thinking about, do you prefer really soft, like silk, like that butter, suede? Like today I have on a micro suede jacket and it feels super good and soft and, cozy on my skin. But then you can think about the wool or linen, where they're going to have a bit more of a rough texture to it. How about for you? I know you're really big into how it feels on your skin.
Oh, for sure.
Nicole,
I'm
what are some of your favorites?
I'm all about silk. It just
Mm-hmm.
feels really good no matter what I'm doing. So it's
Mm-hmm.
one of those things, for me, I could be running to the store, I could be, walking around, whatever it is. I love the feel of silk.
Yes. One thing I have noticed that I love the feeling of more and more is cashmere.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
That nice soft blend, but it's so just luscious. But so thinking about that for you, so jotting down, have you paid attention or noticed what type of things you like? And maybe sometimes too that could include hardware. So for some, if you like a leather jacket, so even though the leather may be soft, you may like having zippers or different things on there because you like the feel of it on your skin. So next, this one is one of my favorites because you can do so much with it, but it's color.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might be thinking that I'm going to shame you for maybe not wearing bright colors, but that's not it at all. Color is really all about that preference again of what you really desire to wear and how you can integrate, find alignment with your style and what like you prefer. And so we listed a couple, like, so do you like bold? Do you like bright? So like a yellow or cobalt blue, or do you like soft, maybe a pastel blue or a pastel yellow or pink? Neutrals, so that could be tan, gray, taupe, black. And even for some, red could be a neutral. So even though red could be kind of both, red could be like a bold, bright, but for some, red could be a neutral also paired with some of those other muted type of neutrals.
Mm-hmm.
And then also prints. For some people, do you really like prints? Do you love a classic gingham? Do you love paisley? There's so, floral. So those are all different things to think about when it comes to color and how you like to integrate that into your wardrobe. I know for me, like I love going kind of classic. So like some neutrals with pops of bright colors.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about this too is that you can do color in different ways. So it could be with an accessory like this. It can be with your extra layer. It could be with your hair,
Yeah.
with your lipstick,
Yep.
right? So you can do different, fun things to add in different color into your wardrobe.
And I know for me,
So,
I literally love all colors. So like everything you listed, count me in: prints, muted, black and white, red. I wear it all.
I know, right? I love, what else for prints? I love a good animal print.
And for me, that's a neutral. So
Right. And it could be a neutral too, right? Because it's your thing. So
yeah,
it's built in as that beautiful neutral. So you can
yeah.
really wear it both ways. Yeah. I love that. I agree too. And one thing too, and I hope this demystifies some color things for you all, but you could essentially wear any color.
Yeah.
It's just how you wear it and where you wear it. So you may not prefer, like maybe a color up top may feel like it washes you out a little bit, but maybe you wear it on bottom, or maybe you
Mm-hmm.
wear it in an accessory or a different hue of that color. So I can't say how many times we've like told people, like people feel like they can't wear red, and we're like, yes, you can.
When's the last time you tried?
Right. And maybe it's just a different hue of it. Maybe it's a bluish red versus a orangey red,
Right.
but we can make it work. Right. Awesome. So then the last two details and lifestyle. So details, do you like going for the extra? Do you like flaps or, zippers or extra pieces or pockets? Do you like that extra volume or attention grabbing things on your clothing and on your pieces? Or do you like to keep it super simple and clean
Mm-hmm.
and like clean lines and fresh? So, this is another thing too. Sometimes like people are really drawn to certain details, and that's great because then it tells you more about your style and what you like to wear. And then last but certainly not least, lifestyle. So again, this one, I love this one for preference because when everything boils down, it has to fit your lifestyle. Otherwise you won't wear it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's gonna,
absolutely. And I think that's important too, because a lot of people think about stuff in their closet and they're like, I will never wear this. I could never wear this. Why is it in here? Well, let's think about, okay, when did you buy it? It probably fit for that season of life, that lifestyle then. But how often does your lifestyle change? It's like, you don't always, even if you feel like you do the same thing every single day for 10 years, you don't. Like probably about halfway through, something major
right.
has happened, whether it's you moved locations, your closet got smaller, whatever it is. And if it doesn't fit in your lifestyle in that moment, then it doesn't make sense for you to even own or have.
For sure. And not forgetting that part too, because that's almost a sense of practicality that
Mhm.
that you need to consider, because of course, like we want you to stretch boundaries and go for what you're going to like, what you desire and what you want and what fits your personality. Then there's that extra layer of the lifestyle of being a bit realistic.
Yeah.
We're all for stretching because a bit realistic about you know, what you will actually wear and what fits into your life. So again, like for the example of sometimes, you know, as you may get older or something may have happened where you can't necessarily wear, you know, 4-inch stilettos anymore. Yeah. And that's real life. Right?
Sad.
Seriously.
Sad but true.
More like a 2.5, 3.
Maybe a flat.
Yep, a flat, sneakers.
All of it. Like, that feels so much better to me
a
now.
Wedge.
Yes.
There's there's other options you can do to, you know, accommodate your lifestyle. So don't look at the lifestyle component as sacrificing, but more as like just narrowing in on what really works for you and being okay with that, like honoring your boundaries. See the lifestyle kind of as your guardrails, you know, to help you, you know, figure out, you know, the options that work well for you.
Awesome. And so outside of that, our next thing is the personal traits, like who you are as an individual. And one of the things that I wanted to say too, as we're continuing on with this conversation, is the fact that, you know, the information that we're presenting is merely, you know, information that we've gathered over the course of years of experience, and using it as more of a guideline, you know, in a media framework, nothing that is set in stone that you can't change. And everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody's situation is different. So the information that we present might not fit in all areas of life, but there's nothing about fashion that is cookie cutter anyway. Like, there's nothing that you can check, now I'm fashionable, or check, everything applies to me. And this is the situation too. And so one of the things, as I'm saying that, and I'm talking about like going into like personal traits, some of the things that I, you know, as I learned it, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense for me. And then I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't work for me. But that doesn't mean that the information isn't true. It just means that that part doesn't work for me. And so when it comes to personal traits and personal styles, it's one of the things that is interesting because you know, our behaviors dictate a lot of what it is that we are showing on a day-to-day basis. And so I thought that the big five, Shar, that you mentioned before, is something that is important to know, because, and the way that, you know, it's expressed here, you know, the difference between being open and not as open is the sliding scale. And obviously, being a sliding scale, there's a extreme on both ends, and then there's all the people in the middle. And so let's start with openness. You know, high openness it was described as being erratic, and I think it meant more or less like very like regimented. Like, as soon as like they want to get on the go, they are like the person of the party that's coming in. I've arrived, like that type of, you know. And then on the low end of openness, you have boring. And I think that that's, again, just trying to show the differences between the two. And, you know, there's so many levels of in between. And I actually, there's a formalized test for this. But then, you know, just basic, you know, things about yourself and how you would describe yourself. Or one thing I like to do is ask my friends or the people closest to me, you know, what you would say about me. And then kind of like, okay, where does that put me on this? And then we can kind of build from there. People who are, you know, more open are the ones who are really into the vivid colors and prints. And then, you know, it kind of described the people who are on the lower end, you know, people who are cookie cutter out of like, you know, a Gap magazine, which is not bad. I mean, I like Gap. There's nothing wrong with Gap. But I mean, it's very, you know, predictable. And so then the next one would be conscientiousness. And higher on that scale would be control freak. And then lower, it says it's considered like towards the hot mess area. And I honestly feel like I'm on both. So like I might take up the whole spectrum of conscientiousness. But again, that's just me. What about you, Shar?
That's funny because I was thinking like in some areas, definitely hot mess. And then some, I would say so, maybe a couple, maybe more closer to the control freak, but I'm probably closer to the maybe in the middle on this one. But
Yeah,
I can ebb and flow, depending on
exactly.
what's happening. So
Absolutely.
either way, for sure.
And that's the thing is that because it's one of those things where, and depending on the day, right?
Yes.
It does. It might be. I might be a control freak today and a hot mess tomorrow. You never know what you're going to get. But the point of it is that the people who are more conscientious are the ones that are very, very like they want traditional, clean designs, not necessarily a lot of ruffle and effect. More conformity and classic styles and classic brands. So like something like a Ralph Lauren, even though it is higher in designer, wear, it is very, very clean cut, not a lot of extra about it.
Right.
Whereas someone who is on the other side of things might like things a little less controlled and conformed. They might like a lot of oversized, a lot of rips, and a lot of different things that are unstructured in a way.
Yeah, that's fun too, because I thought about it in a way of how you may prepare for your wardrobe too. So at times, if I am feeling the need to experience more control in my life, then I may go for like a different set, like a capsule, right? Like I wear a capsule and I may pick out my clothes for the week. It looks, my life and how I interact with my wardrobe looks a little bit different. And then there's some points where I want to, because I see kind of hot messes like unstructured freedom, right? So like there's some points where I may want to just find different pieces where like I may not want to wear anything in my closet. And I'm like, I need to, I want to experience something new, so that may be that level of where I'm at, depending on where I am in my life and what's happening.
And I think that that's going back to, being able to take that like mental note, like, okay, let me take a second of self-reflection, right? Like that's important. And making sure that you're being who you need to be in that moment of whatever, time and period you are in.
Exactly.
Moving on to extroversion. On the high end, you're the life of the party. On the low end, you're the hermit. Again, depending on my day, I could be either one. But when you are thinking of a life of the party, think of things that are, big and bold and bright, like O's, and then the people who might like the structured shoulder pads and, but the exaggerated structured over pads, like kind of like the Michael Jackson on stage type, but that's their blouse. So, think of it that way. And then the people who are not wearing any print, any pattern, like kind of going towards the traditional colors, but then like traditional and cut and not in the fabrics. So keeping things like cotton and not going outside of the normal. It's considered on the lower end. When you think of agreeableness, think of on the higher end of that as a doormat, which is someone who's walked over all the time. But then on the lower end, it's kind of like the mean girl. So I'm like, they both kind of have, not sure how I feel about one of those.
Like, let's reframe our how it feels.
But the thing about it is that the people who are agreeable are the ones that are they like super soft pastels. They're the way I understood it to be as I was learning about it was they don't want to ruffle any feathers, but they are themselves. They're like most times they're pastel-y colors, feminine, and trying to just be as nice and present themselves as nice and honorable and humble as possible, but with like a little femininity attached. Whereas everyone else on the mean girl spectrum side, they're the opposite, where they want to put up the guards. So what, as I was taught, it was where, you wear the studs, you wear the leather, you wear the things that are stopping people from trying to necessarily get to know you, but you have the mean girl appearance. but you might be the most sensitive person on the inside. And it's all about like, again, your clothes being a part of who you are inside out. What you've done is create a barrier between yourself and the next person, but using clothing and fabric. So, when you think of leather and studs and like, you automatically are like, whoa, on one outfit. And it's what it is like, yep, I'm the mean girl, don't mess with me, even if that might not be the case. I have run into many people like that, sweet as pie, right? But by the way it's been presented, you might not get that all the time. And I've had that, people say that about me, and I don't even have on the studs. So it just might be, what people are taking you in as, which is why it's important to put so much, time and energy into yourself, because what your clothing are saying about you is who you are without you even introducing yourself or saying anything with words. What do you think, Shar?
Yeah, similar. So I see almost another word that I was thinking could be swapped here too is like approachableness. Like how approachableness is your, the look of it. Because sometimes I've heard women specifically say, I want my look to be approachable. And I think what they're saying is, I don't want people to be scared off by my style, right? So part of this is there is no right or wrong way, right? First. And it's really about just understanding what it could mean. So if you do choose to wear the leather with the studs, and like, that's fantastic, that's great. And just keeping in mind that sometimes people may think like they may have a certain perception about your personality or like who you are because of, the awesomeness and like the edginess that comes with a look like that.
Right.
So just be mindful. And same thing for the other way. Like if you love to wear like really soft cardigans or, pastels, then that kind of gives a look of softer, more muted, really, really approachable. So like sometimes people may associate it with like maybe how a teacher may dress, right? Because they want to be approachable for their students. So it's a really similar thing. But I like this like approach to it and thinking through like, like how does that connect, and relate to my wardrobe?
Absolutely. And I think that these words that were used in this specific situation were interesting because how we are always about, empowerment and the words, and words matter. But I think this paints a really good picture of the two extremes of individuals, and understanding like nobody kind of ever wants to be put in either one. So you have to live in the middle. You have to. And so for neuroticism, it's more or less about, you have on the high end, the tortured artist, and then on the low end, you have the Pollyanna. And for me, it's one of those things, again, like Shar, going back to what it is that you mentioned about, perception, and not necessarily meaning that is who you are, but just understanding that means that, that what you're wearing might come off in that manner. So like tortured artists, think of like goth, I guess, in your mind, like all black with like spiky hair and fierce directional fashion. And it just kind of provides that extra like sharp edge. Whereas the other side of it, it does not. And on the higher inside of the tortured artist area, it's like you're cool with interacting with tons and tons of people in that state. So you're okay being the life of the party and taking selfies and everything else with all of the world looking at you in another light. You're okay with you in that state. And then on the other side, you have the exact opposite. Shar, have you seen this anywhere?
No, I haven't seen this one. So I'm excited. Like I'm listening to it like, oh yeah.
It's another way to think about it.
Yeah. It says, that's the beauty of it. So many different, like a different perspective.
For sure. Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So now I know we gave you like a lot of background information and a lot of information to build on. So now is the moment to think, who are you? So we've listed some words here to help get your mind going of where you think you may be. And remember, you may have some overlap. So these don't have to be mutually exclusive. They can be mutually inclusive. So you may have some moments where you're more in the feminine. And then you may have some moments where you feel like you also have some of that boho chic. It's really just about who you are. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that can help guide this process as well. And I want you to jot it down. So we're going to pause for just a second, but if you need more time, definitely just hit the pause button on the video so that you can write down all of your answers. So the first question is, choose just 3 words that help describe who you are. And the challenge is, I don't want you to use titles. So don't use like just mother, sister, wife, although those are incredibly important. Here, I want you to use descriptive words about who you are. Now, I want you to think about this in terms of the season of life you're in. Describe this season of where you are right now. So remember, we talked a little bit about evolution, like who you were at 25 is completely different than who you may be at 45 and completely different than who you may be at 65. And you want to consider that when you're thinking about your own style. So think, what season of life are you in at this current moment? Now, I want you to think about, how do you desire to show up in your life right now? I love this question because this really forces us to give ourselves permission to be who we want to be and show up how we want to show up. Now, this component may take some courage, but I don't want you to filter yourself. Really just write down what feels right to you, of who you desire, how you desire to show up in your life right now. Now, for the last question, I want you to think about, what do you want your style to say about you? So remember, we're talking specifically about this time frame in your life. It could definitely change in the future, but what do you want your style to say about you right now? Okay. So your answers to these questions is what's going to help to guide you with picking out the words. So in a couple of slides, we're going to show you examples of what these words could mean. So you can have some visuals to see, to understand, like, okay, preppy looks maybe a little bit like this. Boho chic looks a little bit like this. So again, like we said, this is a guideline. So it's meant to like give you some ideas and some examples, and then you take it and make it your own.
Those were some really great questions. And I always say that you have the best questions ever because they really make you think and it takes you internal. And so, yes, you will need to pause and really be real with yourself, because until you are, you won't understand or be able to define your personal style. And understanding that you have to do this not just once in your life, because your personal style does not mean that is stamped in, that's the way it is for the next 6 years. It means that right now, this is my personal style, not necessarily in my signature style, which is a whole different ball game and a whole different situation. But, it's one of those things, that understanding the difference between like fashion and style. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that evolution piece. And so one thing I like to say too is, usually when I go through some big milestone of my life, then that's when like my style changes some. So there may be some continuity, but like there's some differences. So like, 7 years ago, I wore my hair straight more and it was black. Like that was a big component. And I wore much more like classic style pieces. But that's what I desired at that time. You know, it's what I wanted to do. But then now, like I love wearing my fro. You know, I have like blonde highlights, and I like a bit more color and like prints in my style. And I want to go a bit more bold in certain pieces of my wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it wasn't always like that, you know, and now I understand too, like I don't wear super high heels anymore. So different, you know,
Yeah,
that tailors your wardrobe too, of like, okay, those pants don't look that great
not the
with
same
flats.
anymore. Yes, exactly.
So I'm going to have to switch that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I
it look
can
a little
agree.
bit different.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that that's a good one too, because that's pieces of the puzzle where you're like, okay, something in my life has changed. That means that I probably, need to see if these things fit for the moment
Right.
now. So
Exactly. Yeah.
going on, another really, really important piece of it is understanding your body. And I think this is the one piece that we had mentioned before. Shard brought it up, and I was saying this is the thing that I think that we're most proud of, is because of the fact that we are referencing women's bodies as diamonds and not
Mm.
fruit or shapes or things that don't make me feel good when I hear apple bottom. Like, not quite sure. I mean, I think I like apples, but I'm not sure now. But it's one of those things where I really just, I got to a point where we were working and doing a project, and it was like, there's got to be a better way. Got to be a better way. And we are so unique. And these, again, are just guidelines. But, what it is illustrating is that we view women and bodies of all shapes, all sizes, colors, whatever, as unique and beautiful, regardless of what you may feel or think. And I think that for me, what we are trying to do in this moment is just show everyone how to best dress for your body shape, and understanding that that has a lot to do with your personal style. And understanding that a lot of women, hide their entire body versus understanding what they aren't comfortable showing, and what they feel as an attribute that they should be showing, and maybe covering up the other parts that they're a little insecure about. So, and I know that Char's going to go into a little bit of detail in regards to that, and I just wanted to kind of segue you in.
Thank you. I know I love this too, of renaming and from the aspect of a diamond, and how beautiful and how rare diamonds are. So just like that small tweak of reframing our minds about that, instead of being fruits, and not saying that that's bad. We had to start somewhere, but we thought, why don't we change it up and
Yeah.
do something that feels, more empowering to us, and hopefully to you as well. So I will briefly go through these so that you have a concept, but we have a whole separate other masterclass training on like body types. So we're going to like breeze through these a little bit so you can have a general idea of what they are. So the radiant diamond is for those who are maybe a little bit more of an athletic build. So your shoulders may be a little bit more broad than the bottom part of your body, and throughout, like maybe a bit more of a muscular thighs, as well as like toned stomach, and then also with your arms. So here, typically women in the radiant may want to add a bit more volume on the bottom. And then moving on to the heart diamond, this is where you're a bit more bust heavy. So your breasts are typically bigger than the rest of your body. So you're going to have that voluptuous
Mm-hmm.
style and, voluptuous bust area, where you're now the heart diamond. And
Mm-hmm.
many women in this space typically do, again, want to add some of that volume on the bottom, and, find different fun ways to cinch the waist too. So a trillion is the opposite of the heart, pretty much. So the trillion is going to be a bit more heavy on the bottom and a bit smaller on the top. So when you're thinking of proportion, it's a larger proportion on the bottom than it is on the top. So she typically wants to reverse. So she wants to create a bit more volume on the top to create that illusion of the body. The princess diamond, so she's going to be a bit more even on top and bottom. So she's going to have that bust area probably be almost the same as her hip area. And this could be at any size. And one thing we really wanted to stress and show too is that none of these require, like, you don't have to be skinny to be a certain diamond or shape, right? Your shape is typically like your shape. So you can be, in plus size or just bigger sizes, and you're still, that princess, you're still that trillion. So, embrace that and feel so good about that as well. And then for the emerald is going to be a bit slender throughout the top and bottom, like all the way through, including waist. So that means that she's going to want to usually create some volume in her waist, like cinch the waist, so that she has that volume on top and bottom to create that illusion as well. Awesome. So hopefully you all enjoy those, like the diamond shapes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Right. And if you do want information, check us out for that body type masterclass.
Now, how do we challenge ourselves? Let us show you. I think the first thing about challenging yourself is understanding yourself, as well as understanding yourself from the questions that Shar posed before, but then also understanding that to build it, with confidence and personal choice, you'll build more confidence and you'll become a little bit more confident in your style. I think that, understanding yourself is going to be important to understanding who you are. And then your personal choices won't be as difficult for you, but you'll be confident in the choices that you've made. What do you think, Shar?
Yes, 100. I love that, because the more aware of who you are, then that's the more clarity you have. You understand yourself, and that's when you can have that confidence, because nobody can tell you what you know already. Right. And I feel like that's where some of that confidence comes from. So regardless, like, they can't make you feel bad about something you love, because you intentionally chose that because you love it and that's what you prefer. Right. So you can stand, like, you can resist the peer pressure or the mother pressure or, friend pressure, like whoever, of like, you should wear this or you should wear that. You should try this. Like, no, this is what I like. This is what I love. And, stay focused on your own wardrobe.
Yeah. Yep. Be true and authentic to who you are. And so what we have here too is, if this can play, we'll show a little bit about Queen Anna being authentic, right? And understanding who we are, and we're displaying it for the world to see with confidence, and understanding that those are our personal choices, to be timeless, to be able to take women from day to night with ease, to give education, to, empower women to do you at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Let's see if this last piece will. Okay. No, gotta love technology. Mm-hmm. And so what we wanted to do is give you some examples of some of the things that we have talked about already.
Yes. So we have here, first up is Reese Witherspoon, and we are like, she's kind of like, I feel like kind of like that American girl, like her style. And then she came out with her own, she has like a home decor line, and I believe a fashion line too. And you'll see her style represented in those things. She has a production company called Hello Sunshine, right? I feel like and it's so cool to see how even with her wardrobe, how it's all in alignment with like who she is and her personality and her brand and her style. So know that when you get clarity on these things, it can ebb and flow and overflow into so many other pieces of your life as well, and give you different and clarity in different spots. So she has on this, you know, her fun, preppy American classics type of style. So that's an example of what that could look like for you. Then we have one of our favorites on this slide today.
Mhm.
Is Miss Riri, Miss Rihanna, with the red, bold hair.
Love that.
And yes, it's so fiery red too. And
Hmm.
then I love that she still paired it with bold colors. You know, she has on two very bold colors that people may have thought, I cannot do that with my red hair.
Hmm.
And so this is beautiful, like that maroonish berry colored top with those orange, like fun, they almost look like a jogger, and then some gold heels.
Love
So
that
that is
entire
giving,
ensemble.
yes, bold, and it's a midriff. So that's something too. That's a detail where it's showing, it's an extra detail,
Yep.
really going for that extraness, right? And that's totally okay and so good if that's so in alignment with who you are. And you can tell it's in alignment with her because the way her, like her walk, you know, how she looks confident in her clothes.
Hmm.
And then we have, this is Amal Clooney in the elegant style. So if you look at her photos, it's pretty consistent. She has this really fun, sophisticated, elegant look to her, and her details and what she chooses to wear and the cuts of her clothing. So not only is it just like classic, it always has this elegant touch to it. And you can think of that elegance in terms of one, her hair, how her hair is styled, but then also the neckline of her dress. You
Yeah.
know, it's not totally covering up all of her shoulders. It has that beautiful, almost like a boat neckline that's showing off some of her shoulders and her chest area. That's just so beautiful, and elongates her neckline as well. Did you want to talk about the feminine one?
Yes, because actually she is one of my style icons. After Riri and Victoria Beckham. Like I've got my list of people, but J Lo for sure is actually my body type as well, um, from a stature perspective, and then from the choice that we have here to displayed today, she's being seen wearing a very fun dress, but it's feminine because of the detail and the cut of the dress. But then obviously for us that know J-Lo know that it goes on a whole nother spectrum too, which is why it's important to know who you are, because it doesn't mean that you couldn't wear a preppy dress or a preppy American look, but then turn around and be feminine and then turn around and be bold all in the same week. It just depends on, you know, the lifestyle in that moment, and what is going on around you and in you realistically. And so that look is so good because it's paired together just with a little simple detail of glasses and a handbag. She doesn't have on any other jewelry or anything else. And I think that that's always really, you know, less is more depending on what you have on, and more is better depending what you have on. So, you know, going to Sarah Jessica Parker with the eclectic look, right? So hers is, you know, I think it's like a, not paisley, but like a floral print jacket that's as long as her dress, that looks like it's made out of a little bit of like either is a skirt and a top, but it's like lacy with very detailed tights and some really cute shoes. And I think, again, you could be all of these women any given day if that's who you were. Realistically, because at the end of the day, your personal style is, you know, indicative of the confidence that you show when you're wearing it.
Mm-hmm. And two, something fun to add about Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't know if you've watched this show, the Sex and the City show that she had on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Her character, even though it probably tests the limits a little more, but it's kind of similar to who she is, like how she styles herself in general. So I thought that was a really fun parallel as well.
For sure. And then we have some more examples
Yes.
here.
Okay. So we have Jessica Alba in like a modern chic look. So this one is actually, what she has on is actually like a leather jacket, but it's a colorful leather jacket. But she paired it with a really soft floral pant. So I feel like that combination together made it such a nice like modern chic look. So she took something that's super classic, but it feels chic because of the pairing. And even though too, the top is a bit more bold, so I feel like that's the modernness in it, but that chic of that floral kind of soft pastel pant, and even the fabric of it. If you notice, the pant is kind of soft
Mm-hmm.
as well. And it just pairs really nicely together. And again, with the way her hair is styled, kind of simple, chic, kind of classic with that too. And then again with her pumps, so they're like a beige kind of grayish color in her pump. So
Mm-hmm.
pull it all together. So like if you were someone who maybe you love the top, but if you wanted to go for a bold look with this, you might pair it with turquoise pants
Mm.
and maybe some leather booties or something. Like that's how you can take each piece and make it your own. But how the ensemble comes together is the feel that it gives. So she feels like approachable, right? But she feels like she has some personality to her, like she has some kick to her
Yeah.
because of the colors that she picked. And then moving on to Adele in this very classic, it almost looks kind of like Anna Wintour, even maybe a little bit of like Jackie O look with
Mm-hmm.
this very classic dress, long sleeve, it's black. But what I loved about the classicness is the detail of the weaving on top. So it's almost like an eyelet, whenever I see that, it feels super classic.
Yeah.
As a layer on top of that dress and like the lining. And then she went with a very simple classic shoe. And then also the black sunglasses, and even down to the bob hairstyle.
Yeah. It all pulls
Like,
together.
right? It just comes together where it's super classic and you can tell immediately when you see her. Now, the next one I thought was really fun because this one is like a boho chic. And I know sometimes too, when we think of boho, we think of the long flowy dresses
Mm-hmm.
and, with floral print, but then boho chic could be different too with like the oversized long jacket that she has on, but then she still has on like some fun, like oversized sweater and t-shirt underneath, paired with the fun, like funky glasses that feel kind of like boho, like festival, like outside, that feel it gives to almost like a Coachella feel.
Yeah, for sure.
That it has to it as well. So that's like that boho, but with a little bit of that chicness to refine it all out again. But I love this look, and I love the neutrals that she used too. So that's another reason why it feels a bit boho like. And then you can talk about Meryl Streep.
Yeah. Too. I love her look too because it's a bit conservative, but I think that it is one that, even in its conservative way, has such good like style. Style meaning like it. This is who I am, and this represents me well. All the way down to like her shoes, like the detail of the shoes with that blouse.
Yes.
And the tortoise, sunglasses, how that's a very traditional kind of pattern. And I think that it's really fun too, because even the way that they're explained here, these different looks, there's so many ways to explain, a look, or, it could be conservative, it could be timeless, it could be whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is, but it's just so many different, like, unique ways. So like, even for me, when I think of chic, because I, think of myself as someone that's chic, but depending on the day, I might be boho chic or like
Right.
modern chic or just chic. It just kind of depends on the day. And that what that means to me is timeless and can kind of go anywhere. And I think that when
Mm-hmm.
you look at the words modern chic, boho chic, either one of those, I think, yes, it couldn't go to like a wedding, but you can take any one of those looks and go anywhere else. Like, and it wouldn't be, inappropriate, but it would be
Right.
who they were, and it would be chic. And I think this one could be the said about, Meryl Streep as well, even though it is really traditional, therefore kind of in that conservative realm, not anything too out of the box, but she does have some really fun detailing on her shirt at the neck, up at the collar there. And some of that, I guess, that pattern or print that she has too.
Right. Yeah, because you can also think of it conservative as far as like how it fits on her body too. Like how it's,
Yeah. Yeah,
the top is oversized, like a
probably.
comfortable heel. Yeah. And it's fun to see how you can take a conservative look that can still feel super classic, super chic, super fun. And like her personality, like it fits so
Yeah,
well. Like when you see her, it just like, yes, this looks
that's
like
you.
Meryl.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the same thing can be said about the image here that we have for the refined look of Gabrielle Union. I love,
Mhm.
love, love that look. The colors are amazing. And like one of the things that I love about style is that it literally starts not just your clothes. Like your personal
Mhm.
style is all of you. It's almost like your packaged self. Um,
Yes.
and I think that this really embodies like everything that she is, from, how she's owning the look, her hair, her flawless like makeup, and just like her
Mhm.
stride looks like. And yep, even if you don't know who I am, I'm Gabrielle Union Wade, and hello. And it says
Yes.
that before she even opens her mouth.
Yes. Oh, so agree with that. A cool thing too is when I was looking at some of these words too, and like refined means too, like refined over time. Like you've changed, you've grown into your own. And I thought that was such a good example for Gabrielle Union too. Like if you, I mean, you can follow almost all of us, right? Like and it's about the evolution, like of where we started and how we grow and really like own ourselves and really step into that style that's in alignment with who we are, because it's like written all over her face, her posture,
Yes.
like, and the beauty of how clothing can give you all of that, I think
Mhm.
is fascinating.
Yes, and we have a master class on that as well, and talking about the evolution of style and body, because
Yes.
when you evolve, regardless, I don't know if you know it or not, your body evolves one way or the other. Not to say you had to have a lot of changes, but something about you changed, even if it was just your age. And so that means that a part of you has evolved with it. So it's a fun journey, as long as you're open for the ride. And that's one of the things that we're going to end with, is just kind of talking about some of the things that we have listed here for the helpful tools. So if you want to.
Yes. So we have Pinterest. Love going to Pinterest for different ideas. If you need to, we're at Queen Anna. Is it Queen Anna House of Fashion? I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have tons of boards on there and examples of getting you in the idea, because sometimes you just need more visuals and get into that stylish space. And this is a great way to do it, and see how we've laid out different things, and you can get some style, some really great style inspo. And then again, for the webinar, so we've mentioned a couple of times that we had different types of webinars. So understanding your personal style, we have the creating your capsule, and for the evolving body, we
Mm-hmm.
have one on body types. So, it's okay to educate yourself. It's okay to like learn more and get help on what to do, and get it from, some experts or some people who've experienced it and have taught it more too, because then it can help the process, and it can help you get there faster of what you want to achieve. Because some of us, like, I'm tired of just feeling like I'm wearing the same thing over again.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only way to do that is to take action. So of course, we'd love to have you, even, or if it's someone else, but of course, like, go to that next level if you really want to, and get the help you want, and know that it's never too late. Like, we work with women that are 60 plus,
Yeah.
that are still like, you know what? My style has changed. Like, help me, figure out what I want to do. I'm retired now. I want to do this. So it's never, ever too late to invest in yourself and invest in your style.
And I think that the other thing that's really important is that sometimes it's not even, that you don't know what you need to do or even how to do it. It's just like, okay, talk me through this. So I have this, and this in my closet, but I'm not really sure how to pair that. So we actually have a virtual stylist that is able to assist you simply by you taking pictures of the things that you have in your closet. And the virtual stylist then is able to create a digital, I guess is a better word for it, digital closet for you and style the things that are already in your closet and talk you through it too. And along with that, we also have our YouTube channel in which we are always updating it with all of the various things that we have going on, all of the various conversations that we're having with other retailers, other designers. All of those things are being housed there. So you can always go there for helpful hints and tricks. And I think my favorite thing are our blog posts, because you get to hear, right out of the mouth, out of our hearts, in regards to different topics. Wouldn't you say, Shar?
Yes, it's the personalized, authentic, raw version sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that one of the things that's important is that you want to talk to somebody and get information from somebody who's going to be authentically who they are, and that you're okay with who they are, because you will know that they're okay with you. And I think that that's what you'll see when you get into our blogs, and there's a lot of helpful information there. The master classes, like Shard mentioned, we've got this one that you're being a part of now, the webinars, and the master classes that are kind of like, they're kind of giving you the little phase of empowerment, so to speak, in regards to style and who you are. And then at the end of the day, just we're here from just at the store, at the store level, our stylists are here for you, whether it is in the store or online or social media, whatever it is. We are very keen on understanding a capsule wardrobe, and because that's how we style, and that's how the store is comprised of the things that is here. There are things that are timeless, that won't go out of style, that can be fit in any phase of life, and any shape and any size. So that's one of the things that I love.
Yes, ditto all of that.
So
I'm telling you, that virtual stylist is game changer. If you need some help, or to make sense of it all, like that's definitely, it's worth your time and money. I promise you.
Absolutely. And then making sense of it all is something that we're all trying to do on a number of levels. So if you can get any help, I think that you should definitely invest in that opportunity as well. But I appreciate you, Shah, for being on here with me and just talking through all of the information that we have presented. And I thank you guys for joining us. And obviously, if you have any questions, be sure to let us know. Reach out to us. We've got www.queenanna.co down there for you to just go ahead and reach out and scroll through, see what it is that you like and what you might have questions about. You can reach out right there on the website with our chat bot that's there for you, or even just shoot us an email. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was fun. So I hope you all learned a lot. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your experience with the masterclass.
Awesome. Bye-bye.